Hello, my name is Jeff. This is my 10-year-old unstarted Arab gelding. I picked him up about 2 weeks ago, and I had the idea that I wanted to train him on film, live, most of the time, uncut, unedited, all those things, so you could actually see what training a horse really entails. It's not a lot of the 5-second edited reels where you're getting to just see the finished product. This is an unraw thing. Horse training, it's not a straight line or even a circular line. It goes back and forth and weaves in and out. One day he'll be perfect at one thing, and the next day he'll have completely forgotten what I did with him the day before. And that's okay. What I want to demonstrate and explore is mistakes are natural with people, with horses. And if we don't know how to fix said mistakes or what to do during the process, then we're doing our horses and ourselves a disservice. So I know a lot of this is going to be a little bit repetitive, a little boring, but horse training is that way. It's very repetitive. It can be boring at times, but it has to be consistent and constant. And that's kind of what I want to show. So today we're going over yielding. Oh, good boy. He's already starting to relax a little bit. Yielding their hindquarters, bending, flexing, guiding and driving, some desensitization, and saddling. I'm going to go through all the different processes. Now, this isn't an end-all for everything. This is just the way I train. I've been training since I was 12 years old, and I picked up a lot of different things from other trainers, from my parents, and then I've developed a lot of methods just myself that worked with me. So like I said, if one thing doesn't work or one thing doesn't make sense to you, that's okay, because everybody trains differently and everybody has different methods. But I encourage communication, I encourage questions, and I will be able to know what to do a little bit better next time. And if those questions, then if I can help in any way, then that's a good thing. And we learned as a group and a community of horsemen. So what I'm going to work with him first is just yielding his hindquarters. I like to do this because it creates respect. It makes sure that he's always facing me. I hate ever seeing a horse's butt or them turning their head away from me and walking off. That's just a sign of disrespect. And as me, as his herd leader, whenever I walk into the pen, he needs to be focused on me, paying attention to me. Now, as you can tell, there's outside distractions. I've got cats running around. I've got chickens moving through the pen, some goats, dogs, and that's okay. See, he's already looking at the horses up on the hill, and I've got my little stud Caesar over there. But as long as I can bring his attention back to me, that's okay. So what I'm gonna do, come here. My mares are up on the hill right now. So this is a perfect example of him walking off. So I'm going to get his attention back. Bring it back. There. For young horses, this is a good thing that they can learn that distractions aren't terrible as long as they come back. So I'm going to go back to what I was doing. When I'm yielding the hindquarters, always have a clear thought in your mind of what you want to accomplish. I want his hind end to move over. Even if it's just a try sometimes at this step, that's okay. If it's just a little tiny step in the right direction. So I'm going to sidestep him and move over and step back in front of him. That's his release from that pressure. We'll go to the other side. Step him over. Even that little tiny try was okay. And I do this about 2 or 3 times on each side just to reinforce. And I can either do it with the lead rope, or I like to snap because sometimes you don't have a lead rope in the pens, and that works too. There. Right now I'm only asking for 1 step. Now if I wanted 2, then I'm not going to stop until I receive that. So 1, 2, step back. Good boy. Give him some time to think, to soak, go over what I just had him do. 1 more, 2. Good boy. I don't like that he's turning his head outside, so I wait until he brings it back to me. If he doesn't, I step him around until he does. Good. I'm using a halter lead, or a rope halter. I like these better than the flat halters. They give the pressure in the right places. It kind of makes it where it's concentrated on here, on his pole, on his neck. I just like them. I've never broke a rope halter, but flat halters have broke on me. Good boy. So now I'll work a little bit more of the flexing, or the yielding, bringing him around. Boy. This can also help you when you're teaching a young horse, a colt, a baby to lead. When you sidestep them that way, they're going to take a front step forward or move that front end in some way. I'm going to encourage that right now. I don't like pulling on my horses when I'm leading. I want them to follow me. There's that distance, that connection that I want to continue to keep. So I'm going to sidestep him and step forward backwards, and he'll start to come towards me. Now I've been working with this with him for about a week and a half. I've had him for 2 weeks, so he's picking it up. It doesn't always go that smooth and easy, but it's baby steps. So step, put more pressure until he does it, step back. And that's when he starts to follow. That's how you can get a horse, one, to bond with you, and to two, start following you around when you walk into the pen. Like I said, I hate chasing horses. I want them to walk right up to me when I walk into the pen. And this starts to create that habit. He's doing pretty good. Like I said, I've been working a lot with his yielding, so he's picking it up. I don't like to just beat it into him. I'll do it for 5 minutes, and if they're doing really good, I'll move on. If they're having trouble, if they're sticky, I might do it for a little bit longer. But these young horses with young minds, their attention spans aren't very long. So if you continue to work the same thing over and over and over again, they'll start to get bored, they'll start to get tired, they'll start to get fussy, and all the accomplishments that you just made might go out the window. So work what you have to for as long as you have to till you get the result you're looking for. So now I'm going to just work a little bit of desensitizing with his legs with the lead rope. I always like to do this. If a horse goes to get caught in a fence, barbed wire, anything like that, they need to know that this is okay. That they don't keep tearing at their legs or ripping at it. They'll stand patient and wait for one of us to come and save them. So I flip it around a little bit, get them used to things bumping up against their legs, because when you're riding, your reins will bump sometimes, brush will bump, different things like that. I don't want him moving, so I'm going to keep doing it until he stops. Then I step back, give him time. Sometimes I pet them, sometimes I don't. I don't like to over pet because then they start to get in your personal space. Over to the other side, flip the rope around a little bit, tap him here, tap him under his belly, tap him up here where the breast collar is going to go, a little bit on the neck, up here, flip it up, just so he sees things moving. And then I step back and let him think. The goal to desensitizing isn't to scare them to death. It's to make them comfortable being uncomfortable. And if I give him time to think about those things, it doesn't make it, that uncomfortable situation is no longer dire in his mind. It's just another situation to overcome and come down from. So I'm going to work on his back legs a little bit. Flipping it around. He's kind of sensitive on this side, so I work a little bit more on this, especially on his hind end. Keep flipping it, flip it around his butt. You pony horses or you rope, this is something you really want to have. So that way if you get your rope back there, because it will, they don't get out of town. And let him think and soak. Now that thinking doesn't always have to be a terrible amount of time. It can be anywhere from a couple seconds to a minute sometimes, just depending on what you're asking and how stressed they are in that moment. Come over to butt, flip it around his legs, wrap it around a little bit, where this isn't something scary for him. Okay. Next thing with the lead rope I like to do, put it around his legs, rub it up and down, flip it, wiggle it around. Any movement, see? Good. Pick his foot up. Hold it there a little bit. And drop it. Let him think. Bring this up around where the breast collar is going to go. Gets used to that tugging and pulling motion. Pick up his foot again. Now when you're working with their feet, one thing you have to remember, especially with new horses, is you are taking away one of their most valuable assets, their ability to flee. And if a horse doesn't trust you and they don't understand what you're asking, you could get into a wreck pretty quick grabbing a leg just because they don't trust you yet. They don't want to be on 3 legs. That's dangerous for them. So you got to gain that trust. Too many people just go in there and try to pick up a leg right away on a new horse, and some accidents sometimes happen. Not all the time. Some horses just don't care. Like, he's pretty good about his feet. But gain that trust first before you take away one of their flight mechanisms. Wiggle it around, move it up and down. Anything you do on one side, do on the other. Pick it up, hold it a little bit. Later on, when I start really working with his feet for like shoers and trimming, I'll tap on them, I'll pull on them. See, he's still giving. He's not giving right now, so he's going to have that held up until he gives. There. Good boy. Stand back and let him think. This is the most important part. Horses don't learn from the pressure, they learn from the release. The more time, more release you can give them, the more acceptable they're going to be later on when you introduce bigger, more scary things. Go to the hind end. Like I was saying, he's kind of a little bit jumpy still with this hind end. So I'm going to brush him with my on his butt with my hands, back under his tail a little bit, on his flanks, his hocks, legs, everything I can do to kind of try to create this action, and then teach him how to come down from it. Still moving, that's not what I want. Bring him back to the middle. Let him think. Go back again. And I keep doing this until I get the response I want. I don't want him moving. There. So I don't move on to that next step. The next thing I'm going to do is put this rope in between his legs. I want to make sure that he's not going to kick me or anything when I do that. So he needs to be comfortable with this. He doesn't get that release until he stops moving. I'm looking for about 2 seconds. There. And back to the middle. Now that was pretty good on that side for right now. It's not exactly what I need for the rope, but I'm going to move over to this other side and give him a little bit more of a break with that because, like I said, he doesn't like that. This side he doesn't mind too much. I can actually go and put it in right now. Now you can do this with a spare rope if you want. I like just using my lead rope tail because it's already there. I don't have to have another something other in my hands. Moving around, shaking it, shifting. Pretty good. I just kind of let him stop for a bit. Pick his foot up. Come on. There. Let him make him hold it there for a second. Pull on it a little bit. Still fighting just slightly. He's not soft yet, but he'll get there. Like I said, a lot of these things are baby steps, building upon these steps. Maybe touch it with my own hand and drop it. Let's go over to this other side and try it out again. Boy. There you go, good boy. Now I want him to stop moving before I let go. Which might not happen here. That, I know, it's okay. You're all right. Let's try it again. I let him have a little bit too much lead on that where he was able to get away. That was my mistake. So I have to kind of start over because I made that mistake. If I would have been able to get that rope in there, then I could have got him to calm down with that a little easier. But now I have to back up a step. Like I said, it's not a circular, it's a zigzaggy motion to train a horse. Okay, he's calmed down again. Bring him back. Let him relax. Like I said, the goal isn't to scare him, it's to get him to accept it. And I should have had my lead rope in just a little bit more. That way he could turn his head into me instead of away from me. And I should have had my lead rope in just a little bit more. That way he could turn his head into me instead of away from me. Head in back there, brush the lead rope. Come on. Sometimes it takes a couple seconds, sometimes it takes a couple hours. And if you're not willing and ready and able to devote that time that it might take, don't start it. Make sure you have the time to be able to do it. Because if I were to just stop right now, because he's not acting the way I want him to act, in his mind he just got away with that. And the next time's even going to be harder to get him to accept what I'm asking for him. This goes for loading in a trailer, crossing water, picking up their feet, saddling. You have to be willing to put the time in that it's going to take. Not our time, their time. And it's just a perfect example of what just happened. I let him get away with that, and the pressure was released before the result I wanted. Now it's just a little bit harder to get him to do what I'm asking for. Like I said, that was my fault. He's just naturally reacting to me. And I've done this with him before in other videos, and he understands what's coming. And that's why he's kind of fighting it a little bit. There you go. Good. Now, if I really wanted to, I could force the issue and just try to throw the rope under there and make him submit and make him do it. But that kind of diminishes that trust in me as his herd leader that I've tried to establish with him. So sometimes slow and easy is the best way. But now that I started, I have to finish it. He's not going to get a relief until I can put my hand back there with this rope. There, baby steps. Good boy. There you go, good boy. when you're doing stuff like this, make sure you're very careful about your body awareness for yourself and your horse. Right now I'm keeping really close to him. I've got this hand on his withers or his side. If I feel like he's going to just react really bad or come at me or anything like that, I have the ability to push myself and him away. With this hand right here, I can feel his body, what it's doing. I can feel him tensing up. I can feel where he's directing, where he's going. This really has helped me a lot to keep in close, because a horse, it's harder for them to strike at you, to do anything dangerous if you're in close, but you know where those legs are. There. Good boy. Okay, he did what I wanted him to. He's moving, but he let me put that in there. He didn't move off as aggressively as he did before. That is a really big change and a huge improvement for him. Like I said, he's a lot jumpier and a lot spookier on this side. So anything that I can do over here extra is just going to help that much more later on. Yeah, good boy. Good. There you go. Starting to lick his lips, starting to chew a little bit. That's a sign of relaxing. A big deep breath sometimes, just releasing the stress. Just trying to get the hay out of your mouth. Okay, pick that foot up. But he's flipping his tail around a little bit, so he's getting annoyed with that, but that's okay. He needs to be able to submit and learn that when I ask something, it needs to be done. Good. Drop it down. Good boy. Body language is a really important thing to watch on horses. Watch their ears, what they're doing. If they're going to take off that way, they're going to look with their ears that way first. If they start getting annoyed, you're going to see that little tail flip. Sometimes it's flies, but we don't have flies right now because of the season. That's good. So right now, I'm going to let him rest on that until the next session. He did really well, and I don't want to push it too much, him being younger and not so experienced about what I'm asking. So I got what I wanted right there. That was a success. Like I said, a small one, but it was a success. So now that I've desensitized a little bit with the rope, what I like to do is move his feet more. So desensitizing is to get them to stop their feet, to get them to accept, to yield, to do all the things you want them to do. But now moving their feet gets their mind on you, what you're asking. So what I'm going to do, something where we're going to guide and drive. So I'm going to put him over here on the fence line. I think you can still see. We'll just do it over here so you can still see. I'm going to lift this hand. This is the direction I want him to go. Now, I've got his head. I need his feet now. So what I'm going to do, block the forward momentum, move over. Okay? So I'm looking at his front shoulder. That is my clear, concise direction and part I want moved. So I'm looking at that, guiding out here. I'll start swinging that rope towards it till that one little step, then I drop it. I've only done this with him once so far, so he's still trying to figure this out. Now I want his hind end moving over. So I guide, there. His hind end's a little bit more because I've done that with him. Guide, block, move the front shoulder. There. Great little crossover too. This is a good first off drill for learning how to side pass too. Good boy. Let him kind of rest and think. Okay. Guide, hind end. No, that's not what I'm asking. I'm going to do, there. Keep doing it until you get the result. Good. Want that front end moving over? Good. Now, I want him to move through the alleyway. Point where I want him to go, then drive the back end forward. Bring him around, yield his quarters all the way, and let him rest and think. This is also really easy, makes it easy to create forward momentum when you're in the saddle, because they start understanding how to move forward, how to cross their legs over, how to step. Okay, want to put him on the rail again. Point and guide where I want. Front shoulder, focusing on that, focusing on that, focusing on that. Step, move it over, there. That's all I need, it's just that little step. Good. Hind end, guide, good. Front shoulder, good. One more on the front shoulder, good. Now I open up the alleyway, point, drive the back end, and then move him around. He took too many steps over this way. For right now, I'm okay with it because it just makes it where I have to move him back more so he gets more practice. But ideally, when he turns and faces, I want him turning and facing right there. Point, front shoulder, good. He's picking it up quicker and quicker. Hind end, don't want forward momentum, I just want the back end. Front shoulder, good. Open the alleyway, guide, drive the back end. Bring him around. Better. That's what it should look like on that side. One more time. Guide, front shoulder. There we go. Back end. Good. One more. Good. Open up the alleyway, drive, bring him around. One more. Step over. Good. Very nice. So I've done a feet moving exercise. Now I'm going to go back to another desensitizing one. With this, you can use a plastic bag, you can use a tarp, you can use a blanket, whatever you really want. These are cube bags that I just cut into pieces. They've got an easy handle for me to hold on to. They're lightweight. I can bunch them up, make it smaller, make it bigger. As you see, I've got bags hung up all over the round pin just for they flapping in the wind. He stays in here until I'm comfortable with him that I can walk into him and catch him anywhere. Then he'll go out in the big field here or the little field. Okay. Make him yield and walk forward. I always like to do everything in the center of the arena or a round pen. That way if something does happen, I've got plenty of room to be able to adapt and adjust. And also, this is his safe haven right here in the middle with me. Okay. So I'm going to move it on his neck a little bit, moving back and forth on the shoulders. I'm not trying to scare him with it. Right now, it's just nice and easy, gentle, just to kind of get him comfortable with it. Later on, I'll start flapping it around more. Just want him to know that this isn't something dangerous. Okay, I didn't ask for movement. So he's going to keep this on here until he stops moving. Like I said, this is his kind of spooky end. I don't like that he's turning his head out that way though. Good. Good boy. A lot of times you'll see me put the bag or anything behind my back. That's a total and complete release. Here it's just still kind of in his mind. Back here it kind of gives him that just relaxing time to think about what just happened. Good, nice. Okay, move over to the other side. Rub him, pet him with it. Make this comfortable for him. He's trusting me that I'm not going to hurt him with this. On his flank a little bit, on his belly, behind his legs, and back up. If you have a horse when you first introduce this, like I said, it's in my other videos, but if they're really spooky with this and really afraid, what I like to do is make them follow it. This creates curiosity about what I'm asking for, because it's actually not coming at them. They have the choice to move towards it and stop. They want to smell it, they can. But this is a really good method create that curiosity rather than fear. And drag it on the ground in front of them, moving around this way and that way. Nice. Okay. At the very first, when I first start desensitizing with these things, I don't like throwing it in front of their face and their head. I like to move from the shoulders up to it first. That way they can get used to it. It's personal preference. There are lots of different ways. Okay, start flapping it around. Let them stop. Now, seeing how I'm going to be working with the saddle on the saddle pad today, I want to make sure that I get this up on where it's going to go. That way, the first time he sees this today, it's not some heavy, bigger object, but smaller and more manageable. Pull it away. Switch over to the other side. Same thing. Making it flap, making noise. I want to see what I can actually get out of him. Yeah, spooking, you don't want it to happen, but it's going to at any point in time out on a trail, in an arena, riding with a group. So if there's a hole within that desensitizing, I'm going to find it. And once I find it, then I can work it. And I can work it out of him, just like I did on that near side with the rope. That's still a hole within where his training is. Put it on his back where the saddle's going to go. Move that around a little bit. Have him feel that out. Doing pretty good today with this, so we'll be done with that. The next thing we'll work on is flexing. This is the prerequisite and very important for a one-rein stop later on. You want them soft all through here. Now, not all horses are going to be able to bend and flex as much as others. If they have a longer neck, less muscle, they're going to be able to bend and flex a lot easier. Now, if they have a really muscular neck, he's got a pretty muscular neck and a shorter neck, so it's not going to be as flexible as, say, like a thoroughbred. But when I first start this, I don't pull on the lead rope. Here, bring your stand. I just work. I can feel the tension or the release just from here. That's just getting it loosened up, getting comfortable with the pressure and release back and forth. This also works into if you want their head to come down, put that pressure right there on their poll. You can just wiggle it back and forth until they drop even a little bit. Good. On the other side, like I said, this hand, it's just kind of moving this neck here, bending around your hand, giving them something to, like a guide to bend around. And this one's just barely light pressure, moving on their nose, back and forth, back and forth. The lighter they get, the less pull you have to make. Same thing on this side. Flex and bend, flex and bend. This is also a very relaxing thing for them because you're loosening up all those neck muscles. Practice a little bit here. He's got that down pretty good so far. Boy. Okay, I'm pretty comfortable with what I saw there. So I'll move to the lead rope. Put this hand here, that way again, I can feel what he's going to do before he does it. This is also setting him up to see where I'm going to be at the saddle. I'm going to be pulling around the same positions that I would be when I'm sitting there. So everything I do on the ground transitions and rolls over into the saddle very nicely. I pull it around. See how he's a little stiff? I get that little bit of release. So does he. I'm going to be sitting up here. I'm going to reach down, pull it out, and in. And wait for the give. This will create a really soft horse when you're in the saddle. One more time. I like to do it at least 3 times on each side. Good. Timing is very important with this drill. Good boy. My hand up where it's going to be. He's already anticipating. Very nice. Very light. Pull it around. Good. He's very soft on this side, which is weird because he's very sensitive back here, which that might be the reason why he's soft. Good. One more time on each side. There's the release. This isn't so much a pull as it is a hold. His head. Hold. Good. One more time. Nice. That side will get better. Very nice. Now, I'm not asking for movement. He's just doing it right now, so I hold that pressure until he stops moving. Good. They need to understand the difference between bending and flexing and when you pull them around, moving their feet. That'll come later on with other lessons and videos. Still not soft yet. And hold that there. There. There's the softness. One more time. I'm not asking for movement, so I'll keep this pressure on until he bends like I want and stops moving his feet. There. Good. Right. We're going to finish up with putting the saddle pad and the saddle on. Now I haven't cinched him up yet, so what I'm going to do is a really quick drill with a lead rope to just kind of get him comfortable and used to that pressure around his girth from when the cinch actually gets cinched up. I never cinch up my horses, especially when I'm training them, hard and fast and tight. There's no need for it. The only time you ever really need to cinch up tight, where there's less, where you can't really get your fingers in there, if you're like roping a bull, or you're having to like go down a really steep mountain or go up a really steep mountain. Other than that, it should just be body positions and balance to keep you in that saddle. Now I don't ride with a cinch where I can stick my whole arm in, but your hand to about here is about right. So I'm going to grab this lead rope. All I use is a long cotton lunge line. What I'm gonna do, bring it over his back, under his belly, right where the cinch would go. And just for right now, just because I want to be able to release that pressure instantly. See if we can get over here. And you can do this with the lead rope too. All I'm doing, you're not cooperating with the positioning. Come on. Oh. Is I just grab here, over and under, just where I can do this. Really loose, just where he's getting used to this. And then I can bring it down. Little tight. Just moving it around, doing this, doing that. Anything that I can see what he's going to do the first time I cinch up. And then let him rest for a second. The next step, I'll clip it. He handled that really well, so I feel comfortable in moving on to the next step with him. I like to use the lead rope and the snap because that snap will stay at the position and segments that I put it at. Investigating, trying to figure out what's going on. I'll just let him. So I want him to walk around in a few circles, all the while I'm pulling on it, tugging, pulling, moving it around, shaking it. Let him think. Pulling it around, tugging on it, moving it. I'm trying to make this a little bit more dramatic than the cinch would be. That way he can get used to it a little more. Good. Now let him move out. Let him get comfortable with that. I don't mind that movement. Good. Take it off. Let him relax just a little. He did very well. I don't want him to push him to the point of a blow up. I want him just to the point where he's a little bit nervous, and then I can help him to come down from it. Yeah. Okay. One more time. I don't want to spend too much time on this if he's doing well, if he's not trying to get out of town or create a wreck. There doesn't need to be too much time spent on this. I want to spend more time on the saddling and the cinching. Okay, I tighten it down a little bit more this time, so it's going to be a little bit more realistic to the feel of the cinch. I'm going to let him walk around. Now granted, this rope sits a little bit further back than where you would normally put a cinch, but it's just the idea of the pull. Good. And he stopped moving. That was nice. That's the acceptance that I'm looking for. Careful not to bang his knees or anything with the snap. Now, like I said in the other videos, this is not my equipment that I ride in. This is a training blanket and a saddle that I use for training. I like this blanket just because it's easy for me to handle with one hand. It's got the holes on the top I can hold everywhere. It's stiff, but not super heavy. So I'll let him sniff it. He's had it on one time before, so it's still new for him, so I'm not gonna rush the process. Let him think about it. It's kind of the same exact steps that I did with the bag. Let him smell it, move it around on him, get him comfortable with it before I just throw it on him. Bump him in the barrel just a little bit, bump him in the legs. There you go. Touch his butt. Let him relax. There you go. Okay. Now when I go throw it on, just do it. Don't sneak around when you're doing this process. That's not going to do your horse any favors. Don't creep and slow and all that stuff, because then you look like a predator. You're making them think that there's something's going to go wrong. Now if you just walk up there, I don't talk about slamming it down or anything, but you just walk up there confidently, throw it on and hold it. Move it around a little bit, maybe bring it back to his butt, bring it back to his neck. Still looking to that outside like he wants to get away. So I'm just going to hold this here until he brings his tension back. Good. Boy. Go around to the other side. Move it around, bump the side, throw it on. Pop it a little bit, run it around his butt, his back. Then let him wear it for a second. Let him feel what that feels like. See that on top of him. Very nice. Good. Boy. Okay. Put this away. Go to the saddle. Like I said, not my riding saddle. This saddle weighs about 10 pounds, and it's very easy for me to throw up there with one hand and still hold onto my lead rope. When you're first saddling a horse, you never want them, when you throw that saddle up for the first time, for them to jump out from under you and dump that saddle. All that enforced was that if they jump out or they spook, they can get whatever's off of their back. You gotta remember, a horse is a prey animal and humans are predators. It is not natural for a prey animal to have something right here on their body, their most vulnerable spot, and it's staying up there and holding up there. So that's why this process should take a little bit of time. They should feel comfortable with what you're doing. You get a lot of horses buck for the first time because you just sat up there in their most vulnerable spot and they didn't trust you. They didn't understand what was going on. They didn't think that it was going to end. They thought that somehow they were going to die, so they had to either bolt, run away, rear up and flip over, or buck. Injuries, sore muscles, that plays a huge part in it too. But the first few rides, the first few saddlings, that is why a lot of those problems are created, because there wasn't a trust established that you weren't going to kill him when you got in their most vulnerable spot. Okay. Do the same thing I did with the blanket and the bag. Move it around, flop it around out here a little bit so they can see all that movement happening. Bump them a little, let them rest. Switch sides, same thing. Move it around, flop it, bump them. Stirrups and cinches sometimes fall, so bump them a little bit with that so they get used to that feeling. Let them rest. Now the same thing goes for the saddle pad and the saddle. When you go to throw it up there, don't sneak like something's going to happen or wrong or like you're waiting for an accident. Walk up there confidently, because the horse is going to feed off you, your emotions. Walk up, throw your saddle on, hold it. If they start to try and get out of town, bring that head around, hold on to that saddle. Like I said, Never let that saddle hit the ground. Good. Pull it off. Let him think about that. The pressure, it wasn't something that was going to kill him. So he can get more and more confident with that. Well, throw it on again. Good. Now, I'm going to drop that cinch down. He's already used to that feeling. Something new to him see though. Good boy. Reach under there, grab the cinch. Now with this, wish you would quit moving around. There we go. On the first time when I put a saddle on, I cinch it up with what's called a 4-knot. I want to be able to have the exact amount that I want. I don't want to have to fight for another hole. There. This should be just tight enough that he's not going to dump it now. I hold onto the tail, just so he understands. Okay, and then I stop messing with it. He's not quite sure about this yet. You can kind of tell from his ears and his eyes that this still isn't comfortable. There. Good boy. Okay. He felt it up around him. Like I said, I didn't tighten it down enough where it was constricting just enough that if he moved out, it wouldn't fall. Okay, take it off. Let him relax and feel it. See, now he's a little bit curious about what's going on. Throw it back up. Drop the cinch. Like I said, hold on to that saddle, because just because he accepted it the first time doesn't mean he's going to accept it the second time. A lot of the times that first saddling or that first ride is more of a shock to them and they're not quite sure what to do. And then that second time is when they can really unload. So just go through your process. Nice and easy. Just got to make sure that you get that first wrap in there so that way you can keep it held down if need be. Trying to show you the 4-knot. I've got enough slack in my latigo right now. He's camera shy. Okay. Oh. So a 4-knot goes through the top of your D-ring. There's your 4. Across your latigo, under the D-ring, and right back down. Just like that. I don't need to fight for a hole, whether it's too loose or too tight. I can cinch it down just as much as I want. Now, I'm going to let him wear it. He was pretty good the first few times. He didn't try to get out of town, so I'm going to move him around a little bit. It's going to be a different feeling on his back because that saddle's shifting, that cinch is pulling a little bit. I'm going to change directions, bring him back to the other side. Moving his feet. Letting him understand that that thing on him isn't going to hurt him. Changing his feet again, bringing him back. This is where that guide and drive came into play. I can move his front shoulders over, guide him around in the circle. This is the first steps for me for lunging. I know it's not traditional lunging. I'm probably going to get lambasted for that, but I'll explain lunging later on and what its purposes are for me. Stop his momentum, move him over, toss him over, and move him back again. Good boy. And there. Then I stop his momentum and face up. Let him think about that. Good boy. And he relax and take the breath. Move him around one more time and we'll be done. I'm guiding him. I'm driving his hind end. I'll step in front of him, shift over, and go the other way. And I'll cover this later on too, in more depth. No, keep moving. And then ask him to stop. Good. And then I shift, point, guide. Now I want him to stop and face me, so I step back, move his hind end. Very nice. That was a great stopping point. He did everything I wanted without too much of a fuss, so we're going to end on that. I hope you've enjoyed the content today and that you actually learned something or saw something that you forgot that you had a long time ago. If you have any questions, comments, feel free to leave them. Subscribe and watch. Thank you.